Well, welcome back to our second podcast, our parent podcast. And for this month, we have Pastor Tim with us. And what we're doing in these podcasts is really just giving you resources to help you win as a parent. That is our goal. And so today I'm going to ask him a few questions, and we're going to kind of roll from there. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what have you learned in your own parenting?
Okay, well, you and I are at different ends of parenting. You're just starting out, and I'm an empty nester now. So I've raised two children of my own. Mm-hmm. They were both girls, and so that had a little bit to do with my parenting. One of the first things that I learned after Tress was born was that every child is different.
And she's your second.
And she's
daughter.
my second. Katie's my first, and Tressa was 6 years later. And so we parented Katie, and everything went really, really well. And we thought we had parenting down. Mm-hmm. And then the second child came, and we realized really quick that you can't parent every child the same because they have different personalities, they have different temperaments. Mm-hmm. And it was a struggle for us because we did not know how to adjust to a second style of parenting. And so we had to learn really fast that how you parented one child, you can't cookie cutter a parent's
Yeah, that's
children.
interesting.
So it was a real big lesson for us to learn that every child is different. And here's the second thing that I learned. I learned more about me than I think I ever learned about them in parenting.
Yeah.
Learning how to to be responsible for another human being. How to care for them, how to love them, how to understand them, how to be patient with them. Parenting requires an enormous amount of sacrifice. And so, it challenged my own self-centered thinking or selfishness, what I wanted to do, what I wanted out of life. A lot of that stuff I was willing to do because I loved my kids and I wanted to be a parent. But it's still, it was, I learned a lot about myself in raising two other human beings.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I learned some good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So for a lot of these parents listening, this might be their very first middle schooler. For some of them, they might be going through middle school or high school for the third or fourth time. So what have you learned as a pastor and helping parents?
Yeah, I've been at this for about 41 years now. I've raised my own children, and we do a lot of parenting series. And of course, I've done some counseling and worked with parents for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I have observed in parents and working with them, I think, and I don't want to come down too hard because I know I had my own struggles as a parent. But one of the things that I've observed is that some parents are passive. I think we go into parenting thinking or not realizing what we need to know and what we need to do, and so we get behind really quick, and so we fall into reactive parenting rather than proactive parenting. I don't. Ron and I read a couple of parenting books, I know, when we were first starting out, but I think we would both admit that we weren't as adequately prepared to parent as we could have been because there's tons of resources out there. We just were kind of making it up as we went, and then we got into reactive parenting rather than proactive parenting, and that adds a lot of stress to your parenting. It adds a lot of conflict because you're not understanding your child and how you can adequately parent them. And so I just see a lot of maybe passivity or a lack of preparing themselves to parent well. And then the other thing I think I see is that they wait too late to ask for help. They come into my office after the crisis. And I believe in the gospel, so no relationship is hopeless. I believe that anything can be restored and healed. But it's a lot more work to clean up the mess than it is to prevent the mess from happening.
Yeah.
And so I just see a lot of parents giving up too soon or asking for help really late in the game. And it just makes parenting just that much harder.
Yeah. And I love what you said about trying to be proactive more than just kind of reacting to whatever situation that you might be in. That's really good. So what advice, just some very practical advice, would you give to a parent, whether they're the first time or whether this is, their second child through this phase?
Yeah, I think I would offer two pieces of advice. Number one is understand your child. At Grace, we understand childhood development in 4 particular stages: the preschool stage, the elementary stage, the middle school stage, and the high school stage, or phase. We call them phases. And so for a parent to be adequately prepared to parent, you need to understand the phase that they're in, first of all. What's characteristic of a 6th grader? You're not the first person to parent a 6th grader.
Right.
So there's people out there that understand what a 6th grader thinks, how they feel, how they process information, how they make decisions. Understand what a 6th grader is. That would be my first piece of advice. Understand the phase that your child is in. But secondly, to be prepared for the phase that they're going into. Because a 6th grader is going to be different than a freshman. And so as you're raising that 6th grader, moving them into 7th and 8th grade, understand what they're moving into and being prepared. That's being proactive. Understanding the phase that they're going into and being ready to deal with those particular challenges that they're going to be experiencing in that phase. So that's the first thing, understanding the phase and being prepared for the next phase. And then the second thing is what I mentioned just a minute ago. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Parenting is hard. And there are people that have gone before you. And so you're not the first one to deal with a teenager. You're probably not the first one to deal with whatever challenges you're facing. And so there are people out there that can walk with you and give you advice. And sometimes we don't seek that advice. Or as I said, we seek it too late.
Yeah.
And so to stay engaged with other parents, you at Brigade, you offer all kinds of resources for parenting. Take advantage of those. Take advantage of all the opportunities that we give parents to learn about parenting and to learn about their student in whatever phase they're in. Don't wait to ask for help.
That's good. Yeah, I think for me, part of the time when I come into a situation, it's hard for me to ask for help because that creates vulnerability in my life. So that's really good. Yeah. And I know you talked about, a couple times you mentioned being proactive and resources and stuff like that. So I wanted to share 3 resources, just really, really good books that you can use in your parenting that are very, very practical as well. One of them is Parenting Beyond Your Capacity. This is by Reggie Joiner and Carey Nieuwhof. This is a great book to connect with your family, just again, a great parenting book. The next one is by Group, and this is an emergency response handbook. And again, this is just some very practical things that they go through, what to say, what not to say, and stuff like that.
That's when they're facing a particular problem or challenge.
Right.
It gives them some real quick advice on how to, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
The last one that I wanted to show today is Intentional Parenting. This is with Doug and Kathy Fields, and they are just phenomenal. They've been in ministry forever. They work with parent ministry. And so this is an exceptional book to read as well. And it's almost a handbook. It's a workbook that you can go through as parents. And so that's a great one to have as a resource. We are going to be having these. We'll put these resources on the Brigade website, and we're also going to put them as a link underneath this video so that you're easily able to access those resources. Well, thanks again for joining in. Thank you, Tim, for sharing with that. And our job as a student ministry is to partner with you to help your student grow in their relationship with Christ. So hopefully you have a great week. Hopefully you have been able to take some stuff from this, and we will see you on the next Thursday in March, the 3rd Thursday, and we will continue this conversation about phases.